Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. It's time for Versus. Today on the show, Gladiator and Wicked. Is it Glicked or Wickediator? We will talk about it with a wide variety of voices. A diverse group of people here to discuss Wicked versus Gladiator. Let's go. Let's get things started. Let's start the show. Come on. I think Alan is here too. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. Hey, everybody. Hey,
hello.
How's it going?
Hi.
We have a few people that may join us late, but I'm so happy you're all here at the beginning. I'm going to put you full screen. Introduce yourselves. Full screen. Let's start with Dante.
Yeah, Dante from Verbal Riot. And once again, we're going to be talking about witches.
Oh, I'm Robert Meyer Burnett. And, you know, I was just contemplating how many witches we've had this year and if it's okay to talk about them without getting people mad at us. You know, I don't know.
Script Doctor here. Which witch is which, and which witch will win the box office or the audience? We don't know.
I'm ready to make witches great again, I guess. I didn't watch Wicked. I did watch Gladiator II, and I have feelings.
And new with us. Hey.
My name is Stephanie, aka My Nerdy Home, and I'm just glad that the witches that we're talking about aren't the ones from The View. So.
And Alan Ing, Film Threat. Hey, I love musicals, and I'm in a heterosexual relationship.
All right. Thanks everybody for being here. We have a couple people joining us late. We'll go around the horn and get quick thoughts. Alan, if you would bring up the box office. Let's find, and I have not looked at it. I don't know. I have a suspicion which movie won the battle at the box office.
Yes,
but
and you would be right.
Okay.
Yeah. A resounding victory for Wicked. The witches defeat the gladiators, and then trounce on Santa.
And that's by a substantial margin. Did I say margin?
Yes, you did.
It's Monday. I had a very fun weekend, so I'm a little tired from too much fun. But that is more than twice what Gladiator. Wicked at 112.5 million to Gladiator's 55 million, so more than twice. And Red One dropping to 3 at 13 million. I'm surprised Bonhoeffer, or Bonhoeffer as Alan calls it, got 5 million, and Venom still hanging in there. Yeah. Okay, thoughts on the movie. Let's go around for those who've seen. I don't think everybody's seen both. I have, and Alan has, but let's start with you, Steph.
I did see Wicked. I absolutely loved it. I've seen it multiple times already, and it's only Monday. I've almost finished Gladiator. I haven't quite finished it yet. And I loved the first Gladiator. This one just completely failed to hold my attention like the first one did.
Everyone else.
The second one on hold. Is that what you're saying? It's on pause and you're waiting to finish it?
She's got one of those theaters that lets her pause it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, look, I'm going to piggyback off of Alan. In a heterosexual relationship, but I loved Wicked. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, to be honest with you. Even though I love the musical, I saw the stage play here in LA. I saw it like 3 times already in the past, and I've always liked the musical. I didn't have a lot of hope for this movie, especially when I heard Ariana Grande was like the lead, but it kind of blew my expectations, man. And as annoying as Cynthia Erivo is in real life, she killed it on screen. She just did. She killed it.
Well, and I don't mean to diminish Alan or I or Badger or Rob. Dante is probably the most straight, manly man on the panel.
Absolutely.
Not anymore.
I know, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Well, here we are. Rotten Tomatoes has critics score 89%. That surprises me.
Yeah, that surprises me too.
Yeah,
It was
it's
a lot higher.
weird. I don't know who gave it. I mean, I know Alan gave it very positive. 97% audience score. I think audience score is the only one that matters. So I think that's interesting. I'll find Gladiator here. Others, Badger, Rob, Script. Let's get your thoughts.
I didn't watch this movie because it is the definition of not made for me. I just want to say, though, I am very happy that despite what maybe you thought, because what the actresses said, that according to Steph, who I heard vividly defend it, it's very accurate to the books and stage play, and that the only ideology here is what was always there, and it's done very well. And I'm very happy people got something good. Now, can we please do that for all of our beloved male-led franchises? Thank you. Please and thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Rob?
Well, I look, 2 years ago at CinemaCon, they showed a very early preview of some of the behind the scenes on the film. And it was apparent then what a handsomely mounted production this actually was. And to me, I mean, how do you not look, I can understand people not liking musicals because it's not exactly a form that we've been getting a lot of. But in terms of Hollywood history, I mean, you know, go back to the Broadway melody movies of the 1930s. I mean, musicals have always been a mainstay of Hollywood. It's we as audiences sort of let that fall into the past. But, you know, we've seen great musicals late. I loved La La Land, for instance. And I thought this movie was beautifully made. I mean, there's nothing about this movie that wasn't first rate. And, you know, it was a little, I went back and forth on Twitter with people that's like, well, I didn't like the film grade. It should look like, and I'm like, you don't think the filmmakers spent weeks grading the color of the film? I mean, this film represents exactly what we want out of Hollywood. The love and the respect poured into this, call it an IP. It was a book. It was a musical on Broadway. Now it's a movie. And I can't imagine any other film getting as much love. I mean, Chicago in the early aughts got this kind of love. This gets this kind of love. I mean, this is what great filmmaking at the studio level should always look like.
Let me address the film grading for a second. But, you know, I saw it on IMAX and I saw it at a regular theater. IMAX is far superior in terms of color. I would definitely say watch this on IMAX, watch it in Dolby, because the regular theater, it just felt washed out. It looked like the images you see on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, that's a projection issue. And this is something that I wish people would understand. If you go see a movie and you think the color grading's off, it's very possibly a projection issue. And what happens is the theaters diminish the what call it the lumens. Would that be the right thing to say?
Yeah, it saves money. It literally saves them money
because the projector bulbs are very expensive. And if you're going to see, and I understand that, but that's the last place that they should be skimping, even though it's the first place they do.
Plus, these theaters are run by high schoolers. So
yeah,
I saw it for the first time in 3D because that was like the early access screening was a 3D showing. I wouldn't waste your time with 3D. It really doesn't make a difference. But I've seen it 3 times already, and I will say I've seen the Broadway show 5 times, and it is a love letter. I mean, it is just straight from the Broadway show to the big screen, Act 1. From the songs, the pacing, even the jokes and the mannerisms of a lot of the actors, it is pulled straight from the Broadway show. This is a 1-for-1. Like, if you loved the Broadway show, if you had fun with the Broadway show, you will absolutely just adore this movie. This movie is it's a beautifully made movie from start to finish.
$1 billion, Steph, but not. It's like this is gonna be good, but how will the second one do? I think you said that maybe
a couple quick things. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Okay.
I'm wondering if the second one's going to do as well as the first one. It might do well if they continue with the momentum, but I can already see reactions to the marketing for this movie because Wicked is everywhere. Yeah. And that's led to some like consumer negative reaction because they're like, everywhere I turn, it's Wicked. I'm getting sick of it. Like, okay, your movie's coming out. And so since the next movie is coming out next year, is the marketing for the movie going to continue throughout the year leading up to the second movie? And some people might just be sick of seeing Wicked everywhere, that they just won't go and see it. But like the people that loved the first movie will go and see it, but it'll like taper off and people won't see the second one, especially since Act 2 tends to be the weaker between Act 1 and Act 2, between the two.
Right, but I don't think they're going to have to advertise as much. There's a lot of word of mouth going on. The other upside is they don't have to rebuild sets. So the production
they
cost
shot them back to back, right? They shot them back.
Yeah, and so the cost overall is shared between the two. Also, to Steph's point, one of the criticisms I have of movie musicals, movie adaptations of musicals, is that movies fail to capture the intimacy that you have with a live performance on stage. And Into the Woods is probably the great example of this. Into the Woods is awful.
Oh, good.
Because it couldn't capture the magic of the musical on the stage. Here, I believe that the added scenes, the expansion of story characters, of emotional arcs within the story, overcame the inherent weaknesses you have with these adaptations. Another reason why I think, yes, this movie is going to be a lot longer than the musical, and I think it's the added material that makes this movie come close to the original Broadway play.
Also, the added material is needed because, in the Broadway show, there's just music while they change the sets. Whereas in the movie, there's just more dialogue and you get further in depth with each character and how they're feeling. And I just have to say, like, all of these characters, they had such great chemistry with each other. You believed they killed it with the acting. It had such great chemistry. You felt every emotion.
I'll point out that the arc between or the story between Bach and Nessa Rose, it gets really dark, and you don't get that in stage play at all.
Yeah, it's just a great fantasy film too. I mean, I would go so far as to say this is one of the great fantasy films of the last 25 years. I mean, because it's a musical, people might not think of it in terms of Lord of the Rings or something, but there's been a lot of fantasy films that have missed the mark. And that's another thing about this movie. It's a genre movie in addition to being a musical. And I think it's quite an excellent genre film. So
what's interesting to me about that, Rob, it really quick is, there's a lot of people who are saying that, they don't want to see it because they're not a fan of musicals. They don't like musicals, but yet they love the original Wizard of Oz, which is a musical. Right. I think people forget that.
Yeah.
The original Wizard of Oz is an actual musical too.
No, the pushback against musicals has always baffled me. One of my favorite top 10 movies of all time is All That Jazz. Now, I wouldn't consider All That Jazz a musical, but it's a Romano Clef about Bob Fosse, who was a choreographer and a film director, and I also think it's a fantasy film. But this movie, I think anybody who loves big studio productions would love this movie. Why not? I mean, if you love Lord of the Rings, you would like Wicked.
I think that that Cats left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
For sure.
Yeah.
In adapting a musical to a movie production, it left a horrible taste in people's mouths, and they're like, well, see, this is why you can't adapt musicals. You can't do it properly. Look at what happened with Cats. And they're right. I mean, Cats is very hard. It's very hard to adapt to the big screen. Yes, I agree with that, and I think that left a lot of a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and I think that's why like very few people were didn't want to give Wonka a chance. Wonka was excellent. It was such a great movie. Yeah, and that's why it took so long for that movie to be successful, because people weren't willing to give it a chance. And I think that one word of mouth, helped that movie. But I think that like in terms of like big Broadway production musicals, Cats left a bad taste in people's mouths. And when they think of a movie musical, they tend to think of Cats, because that got such bad press and such a bad reaction from so many people. That's the one thing that people think of when they think of movie musicals.
I was one of the few reviewers that give Cats a positive review. And after giving that review, I have had people come out of the woodworks and say, yeah, we liked it too. So,
well, Alan, you're fired. So that's
no, I believe you liked it, Chris, if I'm not mistaken.
I did. I walked out. Was I with you, Dante? Who was I with? I just like
no. I never saw that shit.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, movie. I never saw it.
I do like musicals when they're well done. West Side
Yeah.
Story is amazing.
Amazing.
There's so many
I love
great
West Side Story.
musicals.
I liked Moulin Rouge and Phantom of the Opera, so there I'm slightly gay too. I
Les
just couldn't
Miserables
do this.
is fantastic. Les Mis, I think, is great. You know, there are many versions of it, and I've seen that play as well. But I think what makes this special to me is the connection to Wizard of Oz. And you know, those slippers were silver in the book, right? They made them ruby in the movie, but they don't have the rights to the movie, but they have the rights to the book. So there's confusion there. They changed it for the original version, 1939. You know, they made them red to feature the color on the big screen. So there are lots of little.
They made them red to pop off of the yellow brick road.
Right,
they needed something to pop off of the yellow brick road. So that's why they're red. They're originally silver. They've always been silver, but that's why they made them ruby slippers so that they would pop off when, you know, Dorothy is wearing them. Your eyes always go to the ruby slippers. So that's why they made them red, but they don't have the rights to the ruby slippers, which is why they are silver. And even in the Broadway show, when Elphaba casts a curse on them, you know, or a spell on them, they shine a red light on them while she's casting that curse, so that they appear to be red or ruby, but they've always been silver.
Weren't there red shoes in the movie though? I thought they grabbed a pair of red shoes.
Yeah, Glinda grabs it when she's singing Popular. It's like a nod to the Wizard of Oz, a nod to the ruby slippers, but they're not.
And this is the most time we've ever spent talking about women's shoes on the Film Threat channel here. But look, I also like it, and I'm glad Rob's here for this. When I first saw the Wicked play, what struck me most is I always feel the story of Anakin's fall to the dark side was mishandled and just not well defined. When you ask anyone why did Anakin turn to the dark side, there are 10 different answers. In this, it's such a great story. You see from Elphaba's point of view why she made that turn and how she was vilified. I thought this was so well done. Couldn't they have told the story of Obi-Wan and Anakin in this way? It's so clear. And the fact that they became rivals, that became friends, and then at odds because of circumstances. And all I thought, this is the Star Wars prequel I wanted to see, but it's being told with the Wizard of Oz players, I guess. So I'm really curious with the second half, because I don't think the second half of the play is as good, and it kind of weaves in between, happening concurrently with the events of, you know, the Wizard of Oz, right? So I think
Jedi.
I think John Chu has an opportunity to make that second half better. Seriously. So
I hope so, because there's a significant time jump from the first half to the second half of the movie.
Well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to make sure that, you know, Chani isn't the way she is at the end of this first movie. They're going to change that relationship. So
you're right. Sorry, everything comes back to Star Wars for me, and
I've heard so many weird things about why people don't want to see this movie. Like another thing I heard yesterday on George's show was like, you know, some people are angry that they're making the Wizard the villain. And I'm like, guys, you have to understand, man, like when it comes to Oz, this isn't like a lore thing, because there's so many different stories of Oz and so many translations of Oz. And, you know, even if you took the original Wizard of Oz movie and you look at a movie like Return to Oz, they are different tonally. They are different in every sort of way, man. The Return to Oz is more like the books. The Wizard of Oz was its own thing on the big screen. Right.
But also, we determined that the wizard was sort of a. Didn't you come up with a snake oil salesman?
Yeah, he was a man.
That's how right there. Movie.
He was always a con man anyway. So, like, the villain.
What's interesting to me is that, like, the Wicked expands on that, right? Because he has always been a con man. He's always been a snake oil salesman. He just told people called him a wizard, so he's just like, oh, I'm gonna stick with that, right? He didn't correct anybody. Nothing.
Well, that's why he stands behind that giant mechanical head.
Yes. But Wicked just expands on that, right? So they're like, okay,
it's also used as a euphemism, right?
Put some real world views onto
But Wicked's also a parody. Like the whole idea of the Wicked book is that it's a gimmick of this is the real story. It's like the true Hollywood story from the Wicked Witch of the West's point of view.
Right.
It was never meant to be a canon thing. It's just like, let's take all the canon stuff, let's have fun with it and make people doubt it. Like they did this with other stories too. They did this like with the Big Bad Wolf and the Three Pigs. His story, like this is the perspective from him. This is what they did. The thing is, Wicked does it really, really, really well. Like I'm seeing it this weekend with my girlfriend. Didn't get a chance to last weekend. So, I mean, it seems to be a great audience and crowd pleaser, which is what we need right now. So I'm looking forward to how they do it. I saw it on Broadway when it debuted. It was fun. I want to see how that translates to the screen.
I will say
the book started off as fan fiction. The book was originally the most famous fan fiction. It was fan fiction. I think like only recently people are saying like, no, it's not fan fiction, but it had been touted out as fan fiction because it's like a what if story.
Yes.
It's a what if story. So it's
I remember reading all of those as kids. Like all the Brother Grimm stories from the perspective of like the witch in Hansel and Gretel. It's her story and perspective, how these little kids threw her into the oven, but she barely made it out alive or something. Like those are the fun.
I want to talk about Gladiator in a sec, but for those that paid to see Wicked in the theater, did you notice a phenomenon? I have not seen this since Barbie. I'll say this real quick. People were dressed up. People had tiaras. Women, it was pink, team green. There were groups of people dressed up. There was a young girl in a wheelchair with her mother, and she was dressed like a princess. She was so happy to be there. And before people call it woke or whatever, like, look, there was the character of Nessa in a wheelchair was in the play. Like that's part. It wasn't like this isn't a recent thing, right? That was all there before. I was really. It's like I love that enthusiasm. So did you guys notice things at your theater where people dressed up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, it was a multi-generational experience too. Clearly, it was this is a family movie,
right?
You know, and that was another thing. Multi quadrants, and it was fun. You know, like I hate to bring up Barbenheimer, but people dressed up then too. I mean, you know, I think that movie going like this has shifted. Where it used to be the stories and the characters. Now I think it's the experience more so than anything else. I mean, Wicked is like, I think that Taylor Swift as an artist, Taylor Swift is more important than her actual music is. They love her music, but Taylor Swift herself, the persona, call it what you want, she overshadows. People think they're her friend. She's the best friend everybody wants. And Wicked is a collective experience. People love the music, they love the imagery, they love the culturalness of it all. Whereas the actual story itself is so classical, and that's important, but Wicked is about its parts rather than the sum of its parts, I think.
Right.
And that's different than the stories I think that we grew up with.
Right.
Also,
I went all 3 times.
Oh, you've seen it 3 times. Okay.
I went and saw all 3 times with different people, and we all dressed up each time, and we weren't alone. There were tons of people dressed up.
Yeah. Well, Rob, you asked me at Comic-Con. You asked me at Comic-Con why aren't teens going out and seeing movies? And I told you it's because they go to movies, but they have to be event movies. And this is an event movie. This is something that you dress up for. This is something that you know, it's this grand excursion down the street to go into the movie theater.
You know what? Also, really quickly, I want to address the woke thing, man. Like, okay, look, it's sure there are gay people in this movie, or at least they're playing gay very well. That has very little to do with the story. Practically nothing, honestly. It's guys, it's a musical. There's going to be gay people in a musical. You know, I don't know what to tell you. But that's not the focus of the story. It's not the focus of the movie. I think the woke thing needs to, kind of like a lot of things, needs to die out a little bit, because trust me, there are some things that are very woke, and we'll call that shit out. And especially when it comes to, like, you know, Lucasfilm, the MCU, they're notorious for it. I get that. Not everything is woke, though. Just because there is a gay person in a movie or a black person in a movie doesn't make it woke. Those aren't the things that make things woke.
I think there's an overreaction to that stuff, a knee jerk because stuff has been so bad. You
pattern recognition.
So it's like you're knee jerk. It's not it. I mean, Alan and I see plenty of movies that I can tell you a lot of small indie movies are very woke, but that's small market. And there's ones that are not, but they have maybe some of those elements. So,
well, it's the difference. Liberal having a movie with liberal themes in it doesn't make it woke.
Right.
Woke
Right.
and liberalism are completely different.
This was pulled straight from the Broadway show. If you've seen the Broadway show, you go see Wicked, it is the exact same thing. Now, if they had pulled elements from the book, because I've read the book and the book is incredibly progressive, it was written in the mid-90s. If they had put stuff from the book into the movie and changed it, right? So it's no longer the Broadway musical. It's something different. It's something more. If they had changed it, then I would have been like, oh, they wokeified the movie. It didn't need to be wokeified.
Woke is weaponized ideology. Nothing was weaponized here.
Nothing was weaponized. It was the Broadway show come to life on the big screen. If they had changed it, if they had added elements in there that didn't need to be in there, then I would have been like, well, damn, that sucks. They could have. It could have made so much money, but now it's going to flop because people who love the Broadway musical are going to watch this and be like, what is this? This isn't Wicked, right? But they didn't do that. It is a completely 100% faithful adaptation of the Broadway show because that's what it's pulled from. It is pulled from the Broadway show. And when I initially saw it and I knew that this movie was going to be made and I was really excited for it because I love Wicked, I was worried that in today's climate, they were going to pull from the book and put some of that stuff in the movie, and they didn't do that. It is a faithful adaptation of the show. So it is, for me, that's not woke because the show has always been the show since 2003. If they had changed it, then I would have had something to say about it. But just because it has, gay dancers in the background, she's got like, I don't even know if her friend is gay, but she has like her friend. That doesn't make it woke. That character has always been.
I think Bowen Yang is gay in the show. I think he's
gay
in real life. Before we pivot to other topics and we'll talk Gladiator II, is this a $1 billion movie?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
She's seen it 3 times.
It has underperformed this weekend, but I think this is a movie like The Greatest Showman, which people are going to go see for the next 2 months.
Legs, right? Long legs.
It's got legs. People are going to keep going.
I mean, the Thanksgiving weekend is gonna boost it. If Moana 2 is not a hit, it'll boost it. And so
I think that when people love going to the movies, high tide rises all ships. Mm-hmm. So I think that when people like going to the movies and they find movie going a satisfying experience, they look to do it again. Yeah. And we'll have whether you loved or Gladiator 2, whether people love it or not, that I think that people's perception of it is different. But if people are going to see a Gladiator movie for the first time, I think there's a lot of people who have enjoyed it. It's been really divisive in terms of people what they think of it, but still it offers spectacle. Wicked and Moana 2. If Moana 2 is great, those are 3 really strong experiences to have in a movie theater for Thanksgiving weekend. I would expect this week, and a lot of people couldn't see it because they were going home from school. They're traveling before the Thanksgiving holiday, and I think people are going to go. I think the next week, I mean, Wicked made $31 million yesterday in cinemas.
And it's sold out. Like, looking for tickets, looking at theaters, there are very little seats.
And I was going to say that was kind of really encouraging for me, man, to be honest with you. The past couple of movies I've seen lately at the theaters have been empty, man. It's like me and like 5 other people at any given movie. And I'm talking during like prime time hours, not these obscure hours. So to be in a theater that's packed, I mean, not one empty seat. I haven't seen that in so long. Like I haven't seen that since Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
Well, I'm sure Wicked will come up more during our conversation here. I do want to talk about, I didn't even say hi at the top, everybody in the chat. So hello, everyone in the chat. And I want to remind people, go to shop.filmthreat.com. Alan Ng only bought his wife one Wicked sweatshirt or hoodie. I was very disappointed to hear that, Alan.
What do you mean? There's only one Wicked sweatshirt.
Yeah, but I'm saying you only bought her one
because there's only one. Look at that.
If you
why should I buy a different one?
If you go to shop.filmthreat.com, we have wicked awesome shirts. Time to defy gravity and style. That is a design that will only be in the shop through the holidays. Our holiday collection more holiday shirts and our Drinkers Choice collection. So go to shop.filmthreat.com and support our work and help Alan get a wicked awesome shirt or hoodie for his wife. I'm so disappointed in you, Alan.
Awesome.
Well, considering that they just went on sale today,
you should have been on there.
What are you gonna do?
All right. Let's
do you want to just do the wicked super chats, by the way, or
yeah, let's do those, Badger. We'll go through these quick.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Jimmy Francis became a member. Thank you. Benjamin for 5. Chris, gonna cheer for the Lions on Thursday in honor of Film Threat. By the way, did little Chris own a Barry Sanders jersey back in the day?
No, I did not have a jersey, and thank you for that. I am excited about the Detroit Lions. Never been to the Super Bowl. If they go, I am going to the Super Bowl. I will go to New Orleans. So no, I did never had a Barry Sanders jersey, but I loved him. I mean, that guy's legs are like rubber. And that documentary on Amazon is really good. Thank you, Benjamin.
Tyler Disney for 10. Hey, everyone.
Hey, Tyler.
Tyler Disney?
Unfortunate last name.
I'll see you later, Tyler. Awesome. Thank you.
Skiz Spivak Esquire for 5 memberships. Thank you. Gifted them. Shout out. Instant Defense for 2. The Heretic.
Very good movie.
Really good movie.
James Riccuti, aka Gen X Fed
In
for
the voice.
499. I heard this is the I heard this is the gayest Dante ever. Am I right? Are you the gayest ever?
Yes.
Well, that explains it.
Yeah.
Red French Moon for 2. Hail, Steph. Welcome on Versus.
Hello. Hail.
All right. Yeah. Steph, you've been on fire on social media.
Oh, yeah. She's
Oh, yeah,
Rachel
Rachel.
Zegler.
We
She's
get
not
half our
like you.
news from your feed.
Wrinkle
Yeah.
Zegler.
I'll check your feed for news.
Shinotsky for 199. I'm tired of evil person was misunderstood stories. Yes.
Well, to
Yeah,
be
this is
fair,
the first one.
yes,
Yes.
this was the very first, and then other people copied it in a really bad way.
yeah.
Maleficent was the wicked
Yeah.
of
I
Sleeping
wanted
Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty, not
was
Maleficent. Anyway.
Oh, we'll look at that Snow White.
Although there
trailer.
is a hot toy figure of her, so that's okay.
Okay.
Is it accurate, Rob?
It is.
Did you-
It's quite nice. It's quite nice.
Good.
So now there's
Well,
2
hot
Angelina
toy.
Jolie
Yeah.
Hot Toys figures.
Hot toys. Yeah.
2 Penny Puppet became a member. Shout out to Penny Puppet. And also super chat for 5. I just finished reading Dune for the first time. Wow, they really did get Chani all wrong. I'm going to pick up Messiah over Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Messiah. I don't know how they can do it now. It'll be a very different third film for Dune. That was
He
the
said it will
one
be.
thing in Dune Part 2 I did not like, was the way they handled Johnny. But thank you to Penny Puppet. Hey, the books exist and they're amazing. I got a Folio Society version of Dune Messiah. It's awesome. Rob, you and I talked about Folio Society.
I mean, they're expensive.
Oh, they're
you know, but
expensive
they're
books.
great.
They're like these collectible. They do illustrations, amazing
Yeah.
hardcover art. So yeah, thank you to Penny Puppet.
I'm still waiting for Udorovsky's Dune.
Yeah, that's very good.
or at least that book.
Yeah,
I
the
wish
book
that
that was
that Toshin would put that book out.
But there was only one book, right?
Yeah, there was
Well-
only, but it was his book to sell it to the studios.
But
Right.
Johnny Depp bought it or something, right?
Well, there was like 5 that existed, but I wish Toshin would take it and reproduce it.
Oh, that'd
Yes.
be cool. That'd be very
that'd be
cool.
amazing. We'll get through these.
Old Renaissance Boomer for 2. It seems the movie is not woke, but marketing was.
Yeah.
I'm sure they focused on
Yes.
the DEI elements.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. And Steph, you were on top of it. All the like I wish, and Alan, you said it. I wish they would stop promoting the movie.
Well, and it's the interviewers that ask them.
It's the
"Is this
interviewers,
gayest?"
yeah.
It's,
So like
yeah.
I watched all of the red carpets. Like I that's how much I love this. Like I watched all the red carpets and listened to a lot of the interviews. And a lot of the times it's the interviewers asking these specific questions
Clickbait.
that in the way that they ask them, they can only answer in one way, right? So
Or they'd be disavowing the community, right? They can't say,
yeah,
no,
they
it's
can only
not.
answer in one way. And that's like I did a video on how the interviewers got political, especially the variety guy. Like he really annoyed me. And he was asking them these political questions. So it's not even like the cast who are making things political. It's like the interviewers are asking these political questions, and it's like, what are you doing? Why is this on the red carpet? I mean, I get it. We are, a couple of days removed from the election, but this is a red carpet premiere for Wicked. It has nothing to do with the presidential election. So why are you being political right now? And I think that I really think that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are trying so hard to not have a bad press interview that they're ending up having bad press interviews. Does that make sense? Like they're trying to agree with the interviewer in almost every way because they're being so incredibly, which is fine. You want to be, very, very nice, very kind to the interviewer.
They're being open and bearing their souls.
Incredibly fake.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard people they
getting nauseating.
I've heard people they tried to come off as so not racist that they come off as racist.
Yeah.
Right.
And so their answers, they're trying so hard not to be, anti this, or they're trying to agree with the interviewer in such a way that it's making it very cringe. So I'm just like, what are you doing? Just stop. Just stop.
You know what though? It's like I keep saying, man, they need to bring back media training, right? Like these people need to be media trained. They need to sit down in a room and, take a class, take a course. They need to bring somebody in to train the talent and the crew on how to handle the media, man, because right now the media is pretty scummy, right? And they're going to keep doing shit like this. And if a studio doesn't want their movie to sink before it even premieres, they got to start giving these people media training.
Yeah, they should watch
Media's been doing this for 8 years, and the actors just don't know how to be properly diplomatic to that. They're winging it on and on all the time. Their publicists don't even help them out anymore.
Right, because you know what? If someone were to ask me, hey, is this a gayest film that, blah, 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 my answer would be, I don't know about that. I just know it's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
I bet
you see how easy that is?
I think this is also in reaction to Blake Lively, because Blake Lively got dragged for the way she promoted It Ends With Us.
Yeah.
And I think that she got dragged for all of her interviews promoting the movie. And I don't think that they wanted, and they tried to do like a Deadpool Wolverine It Ends With Us kind of thing, like Barbenheimer. They're trying to make that a thing. And it was a movie about domestic violence, and she's promoting it as it's a romantic comedy. So I think that she got so dragged in the way she was promoting the movie and all of these interviews that they really tried not to do that with Wicked, right? Because they want people to go and see it. And so they were just like, we need these interviews to be amazing. So be as flattering as you can be, just agree, answer, and get it over and done with. So I think all of this and the way that they're answering the interviewers and the way they're just flattering every single interviewer who's talking to them is in reaction to that, because she got so much bad press. I don't think that she's talked much on social media since then.
And Alan and I both saw that movie, and I thought it was a really good film, but I thought it was like a different movie. I wasn't even aware. I thought it's kind of sweet. Okay, he's kind of a jerk, but he likes her. And then you're like, wait, what is this? Then it was like a Fight Club moment. You realize it's about DV, right?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Right. It was,
I mean, you said it just
romance. That first half of the movie was a full romance.
I thought it was a romance movie until you just said it. I paid no attention to that movie beyond Blake Lively was in a movie, and I thought it was a romance movie. I didn't realize it turned into that. Glad I didn't watch it.
I thought it was a romantic comedy. That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought it was a romantic comedy. She had Ryan Reynolds do some promotion for the movie, and he made it sound like it was a romantic comedy.
That's like when my grandma went to Boogie Nights thinking it was a roller skating movie.
Get out of here. Get out of here. That did not happen.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
There's something things up, and we'll pivot real quick.
There's something I really wanted to say about just about this issue. The world has changed. And in the days of yore, when we didn't know anything about movie stars, and they were paraded out when the studios needed them to do publicity. Nowadays, everybody is on social media. So they have their lives on social media before they're in movies. I mean, Ariana Grande is obviously, she's worked her way up and had a career that's actually existed for quite some time. So when she does an impression of an actress, of Jennifer Coolidge, say, on a late night talk show, which is delightful when you see her doing Jennifer Coolidge. God, you look like the 4th of July. I watch that, and she's such a great. So she's got a whole life online aside from her movies. So everybody's very aware of how you have to behave on social media. So there is a confluence of people's professional careers and personal careers. And we've never had that before. And now the extension of people's, I mean, people's, how can movie stars, I mean, all of us are supposed to vote. And this idea that someone says, who cares what movie stars have to say? Well, we do when they're not, you know, when they're promoting movies or whenever they're, and social media has sort of equalized all of us. And everyone's trying to curry favor, and everyone's trying to not say the wrong thing, and they're worried about being pilloried. And what has to happen is that when you're promoting a film, it has to be said that you're on the clock while the movie's in production and for at least a year after your movie comes out, because it has to go through all the different, it has to go through social media, it has to go onto SVOD, it has to go onto streaming services. So if you get hired for a movie, you're basically hired for at least it should be presented to actors that for 3 years you're on the clock. Beyond the time it took to make this film, because our investment in this movie and in you is not just when you're going to do the red carpet. It has to exist, and that's part of the job. If you want to take that job and you want to gain success as an actor, you have to realize we're investing tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars into you and your work. And we can't afford to have you go on the red carpet or go on some talk show and say the wrong thing and torpedo. You're our partner. And that's something that's kind of new that really needs to be understood by both the actors and the studios so we can avoid what happens with the Rachel Zeglers of the world.
And
I was just about to say that. Someone needs to tell that to Rachel Zegler. Like,
Chat
either
is saying, what about
if they
free
don't want to
speech?
do that, then they can stay off of social media.
Chad is saying, what about free speech? But what Rob is saying is like, look, yeah, free speech. But if I go on Twitter and say how horrible Alan and Chris are, they're probably not going to have me back. So it's best that I don't do that.
Well,
and that goes with other horrible opinions that would reflect negatively. Right? You are associating yourself with a product.
I don't think people understand what free speech means.
Right.
Free speech has nothing to do with you're free to say whatever you want. Free speech is about the government not being able to limit speech.
Yeah.
So if you're hired by a company, you have to do what they say. That's part of the contract that you sign with the company. It has nothing to do with, you don't have the freedom to say whatever you want.
Right.
That's why there's what is it, libel and slander? What is it when you say something? Is that slander?
Yeah,
I mean,
libel is spoken.
Yes, libel is spoken, and it's a different thing. And people, it's frustrating when people don't understand these basic concepts of what free speech actually is, and it drives me crazy.
Well, I want to double down on what Rob said. What Rob, you said before about the it's a contract, right? And it's 3 years. I'm going to double down and say I think there needs to be penalties involved. That if you cost the studio their movie, their opening, it comes out of your pay. Like there needs to be some consequences for this stuff happening, man. Because studios can't keep taking the losses for people with loose lips.
Well, aren't there consequences in sports? Don't athletes get fined?
Yeah, don't they get fined for stuff? Hey, real quick, we have a special guest joining us here. I want to bring her on because she has actually talked to the cast. Kira Lynn from Hollywood First Love.
Yes. I will rule you one day, Flash Gordon.
That was a different.
That's the wrong clip.
Kira.
That's the wrong clip.
I'm gonna make a,
that was the wrong clip.
Hi guys.
Was the wrong clip.
Like, what am I walking into? This doesn't sound like fluffy, wicked magic.
Yes. Well, it was earlier. So you saw Wicked and you interviewed the cast, isn't that right?
I did see Wicked, but the only cast member that I was able to speak with was Michelle Yeoh. You know what? I don't know why my camera is like, hi everybody, let me just give you a big old close-up. It's the weirdest thing. Let me see if I can like fix this so
would be a resolution issue.
Like my whole face. I mean, I could. Here we go. It could go backwards. Look, I'm wearing my
I have that sweater.
I'm like, let me see if I can switch my.
Oh well, there you go. So she's okay.
But until she comes back, I just want to say, look.
Sorry, Dante.
I believe in freedom of speech and all that, but Rob is right. There's a difference. I can't, if I work for a company, I can't go in there and just curse my boss out. You know what I
No.
mean? Like you can't just
Correction, by the way, slander is spoken. Sorry, I was thinking of the JJ where he says that's slander. It is not. Slander spoken. In print, it's libel. Yeah. So there you go. You can stop correcting us in the chat. Sorry, Dante.
No. I just think studios need to stop taking this on the chin, and they got to start doing something about it. Like they got to start finding these people.
All right. Well, we'll continue to talk about Wicked throughout the show, but this is. I don't believe that there are any forces within Hollywood that are trying to make Glicked a thing. I think it's a thing like anything that's organic. Barbenheimer was organic. I think Glicked is organic. I mean, people like memes and whatnot. So they've tried to make Glicked and or Fetch a thing. But let's talk about Gladiator. Gladiator 2 for a moment. And what did you guys think of Gladiator 2? I'll bring up also the Rotten Tomatoes. Around the horn, what do people think?
This is what I thought it was going to be. It's the first Gladiator, essentially, with 30 extra minutes in the beginning and the end. And probably should have just been a TV show. And had they had a more Paul Mescal, I'm sorry, is a charisma vacuum. He makes Sam Worthington look super charismatic.
Wow. Wow.
It's just every single character is a version of a character from the first one, with very few exception. Denzel plays Proximo, but with a slightly different want at the end. Pedro,
I like that they
Maximus.
had an animated version of the first movie in this one as well.
Oh my God, the CGI of the baboons, and it didn't need to exist, and it did not stick the landing, and I will never watch it again.
Yeah, as I've said, I think it's like Force Awakens, a remake of the original, but lesser on every level, less interesting actors.
He Vadered. That's what this is. It's a series of he Vadered moments strung together of like Harry Potter telling to Snape, "How dare you stand where he stood?" A bunch of people saying lines and moments from the first film and doing it badly and unearned and disavow in every way possible.
Well, the reviews and the audience score are not that bad. 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is current for critics, and 84% for audience, which I always trust the audience score. It seems audiences are liking it, and 55 million is not, it's not small. It's
also
decent.
if you add international is another 150 million.
Yes, it's huge internationally.
It's a straight man doing straight man things, at least. So like there is that. It's not quote unquote woke, even though there's traditional gay stuff from Roman times. It's fine. But if you're a Gladiator fan, you want anything close to that? No. This made me think of the Ben Affleck quote about AI, that an AI is a craftsman, but art, knows when to stop and really is just a craftsman now. He doesn't know when to stop.
You've got baboons and sharks. I mean, how can you?
I'll be honest. The reason why I haven't seen this movie yet is because, I've been saying this for a while too. I just think Ridley Scott has lost it, man. He lost it a long time ago for me. I just don't have faith in anything he does anymore. Look, he was a great director in his time. I think now it's just time to call it. It's time to call it quits. And I'm gonna stand by my guns and say Tony Scott was a better director. I think movie for movie, pound for pound.
Keep hearing that.
Tony Scott was the better director. Movie for movie. Don't get me wrong. Ridley has put out some of the greatest of all time, but I'm talking movie for movie. I think Tony had it on him.
It sounds like, and I didn't see Gladiator 2, but it sounds like Ridley just didn't evolve. We've had better storylines. Everybody seems to, no one can seem, I'm sure you guys have already discussed all this, but nobody seems to be coming up with a brand new concept, right? So what? Gladiator came out in 2000, 24 years later, he just revamped the movie,
He's been trying to do this for a while, but he just won't let it go.
Well, now it's out in the world, and who knows? How old is Ridley Scott now?
87.
80. Yeah.
Wow.
Old enough to be writing Gladiator 3. The question is who's going to let him do it.
Him and Clint Eastwood.
I guess I have a contrarian view on this. First of all, the thing about Ridley Scott is, being the age that he's at, he's changed how he's approaching his career. I think the last truly great movie Ridley Scott made was The Martian. And, that was in 2015. And I think The Martian, especially the extended version, is one of the greatest science fiction films ever made.
Really good movie.
And I would go, what Ridley is doing now is he has a movie in he has a movie in production, and he has a movie in post. And I think, unlike some directors, I think the thing about Ridley Scott is he leaves his movies when they're shot now, and he lets editors like Pietro Scalia put them together. Ooh. So he's not sitting in the edit bay for another year editing his films. He's off making another movie because he knows his time on this mortal coil is limited. So what he's trying to do is make as many films as he possibly can in the time left for him. And maybe that's because his brother killed himself, and who knows what drives him. But the interesting thing for me when I go see a Ridley Scott movie is I'm looking for the visuals, the spectacle, whatever he chooses to show us. Because I loved The Last Duel. I thought The Last Duel was a lot better than people give it credit for. I enjoyed House of Gucci. Was it great? Yeah. No, but I'm enjoying watching it. Now, I liked Gladiator II because I thought what was really interesting was the movie was about excess, and it was about, I mean, not success, but excess. Mm-hmm. And it was really about the end of an empire. And you're watching, even Ridley Scott himself said the two emperors he modeled after Johnny Rotten, from the Sex Pistols. Oh. He was not interested in telling a historically accurate version of Rome. Like, he knows there's no sharks they did fill the Colosseum with water, but the movie was totally excessive. And I thought what was really interesting was how things in Gladiator 2 were flipped. For instance, in the opening of the movie, you meet Lucius, but it's almost like we're seeing the Battle of Germania from the opening of Gladiator flipped. You're seeing the people that are being attacked by the Romans as opposed to seeing it from the Roman side. And Pedro Pascal's character is what Maximus would have become if he had taken up Marcus Aurelius on his offer and was able to get back to Rome, to put Rome together and serve Rome and to keep the Republic the way it was. But Marcus Aurelius was killed by Commodus. And so there's all kinds of interesting things that I thought were going on. And Macrinus, Denzel Washington's character, I love the fact that he was a slave, a former gladiator himself, bent on, and yes, he was like Oliver Reed, but Oliver Reed didn't have designs on taking down the empire. And I thought that was a really interesting.
That's why I said he was Proximo with one extra goal.
Yeah, well, but I think that he was playing it much different. Like, I thought Denzel Washington was having a great time, and I really enjoyed the experience of watching the movie. I love Gladiator. I've seen Gladiator 50 times. I can quote it chapter and verse. This movie, to me, I used to joke and say it was the Top Gun 2, or the Top Gun Maverick of Gladiator movies. This is the Jaws 2 of Gladiator movies. And for those people who are with me on this, Jaws 2 does not have a candle. It doesn't come anywhere near Jaws. But like 2010, it's a very enjoyable sequel. And I think that if you look at it that way and take Gladiator out, Gladiator is a once-in-a-lifetime movie. Gladiator 2, this movie has a lot in it that you can chew on. And when you leave, you in a way, it's kind of representative of where we are in America politically.
I have to ask you guys, since I didn't watch it, and when Denzel Washington is a phenomenal actor. I mean, there's no question about it. And this may be my little pet peeve, and I may get jumped for it, but what accent does Denzel use in this movie?
American.
That is my biggest pet peeve. If
Denzel
everybody else is
Roman Denzel
using an accent, is Detroit Denzel showing up? Is it American? Is it New York Denzel?
He does American Denzel accent. He covers it up by saying he speaks all the languages, so you can infer that his accent is muddled. Thus, he sounds like us. It's just a lesser sequel in every way.
That in the movie, because when I do eventually watch it, that's like the first thing I'm like, it'll bring me out of it. But
the beginning, by the way,
the
beginning that Robert's referring to is to explain why Lucian all of a sudden knows how to fight and is a leader because he's been fighting. The problem I had is Numidia is a province, not a city. It had already been conquered, and this whole movie, there's another 300 to 400 years of fighting Emperor King. So it's just the catharsis and love would have been to see Lucian take over, and I gave less than a shit about Lucian because Paul Mescal, again, charisma vacuum, and no amount of syphilis twins or Denzel having fun could make this movie salvageable to me.
I will say some
like
of the
the
contemporary
specialist part.
dialogue threw me off. Like Denzel actually remarked, "Hose him down." I'm like, they didn't have water hoses in Rome at this time.
Right.
It's like if the hosing down is basically urination.
Also, that
Well,
guy he
the
plays never set
Flintstones
foot in
developed
Rome.
technology with elephants to hose things down. So
It is a little jarring seeing Denzel talk like in a Roman movie, and he's still talking like Frank Lucas from American Gangster. I mean, it's right. Like
I like
mean,
Denzel.
love Denzel, love him, but
One of
it
them
is a
does have
little-
syphilis. It's a plot point.
We have a
Into his
couple.
brain.
We have a couple trailers to look at, including Snow White. We're gonna
Oh,
look
boy.
at Snow White, and then
Okay.
I have a bonus secret trailer that none of you know about that we will take a look at. Before we do, let's it's the top of the hour. Let's look through some of the super chats here. Badger, if you would.
J Nemo for 199. Alan, do you like movies about gladiators?
No, but I have seen a grown man naked.
I was gonna. Thank you. God bless you. You ever been to a Turkish bathhouse? Impo for 11.99. Rogue Elements is on now. Oh yeah, Drinkers short movie is out. Rogue Elements is on now. Looks great. Also, hello everyone. Two Penny Puppet.
Wait,
for $5.
Drinker made a movie?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
Called Rogue Elements about his character.
We're gonna
Drake.
have Drinker on the show. Actually, Alan doesn't know
Yay.
this. I'm arranging it.
I had a colonoscopy this morning. I asked my cute nurse if she wanted to be my date to Wicked this weekend. Nope. So I'm still looking for that excuse.
Well, congratulations being cleared out to Penn.
Yeah. Oh my
At
god.
least you got that taken care of.
Rossi, my short king, with $1.49, gave a super sticker. I can't see what it is. I'm going to guess it's either a rose or a rainbow. SAS 777 for 2. But I think Cynthia wants to tell you how queer she is. Yes, we're talking about the press tour for
absolutely.
Wicked. Very happy to say.
Oh no, she's insufferable in real life, but
Yeah.
she did a great job in the movie.
Which is kind of all that matters, right?
Yeah,
I thought she was very good. She was very good.
She looks better in the movie than she does on the press tour.
yeah, isn't that weird?
Oh, they both do. What is
They
wrong
need,
with
yeah. Albert, not a retro for 5. Worst part of a 24-hour comment block is that they don't even tell you what you said or who you said it to. You know what you did.
You're always welcome here.
Yeah. Channel Surf for 10. The Broadway show is woke. Sorry. When you take heroes and change them to villains and inject anti-patriarchy messages, it's woke. I didn't like the stage show. It was one of the OG woke shows.
Okay.
But that was the joke of the book. You're
Wait,
not
what
supposed to
hero did
believe
they
it.
make a villain? Oh, the wizard? Was he a hero?
No,
he's a villain.
No, don't spoil it for
The-
Dante.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
who
The
did they
Wicked-
make?
The Wicked Broadway show is taken from the Wicked book by Gregory Maguire, and the wizard in that is worse than in the Broadway show.
Yes, and I believe The Wizard of Oz is based off of the current, if I remember when it came out, it was supposed to, the current change of tides in American government, and the author wanted to write a fairy tale that was based off of American lore and what was going on at the time. So anyway.
So the wizard was George Bush. Is that what we're saying?
It needed wheelers.
I actually would argue that Elphaba is Trump. Because Trump being vilified by the mainstream media. I had some people agree with me. I don't know.
I'd love to hear that.
I was thinking about that when that happened. Yeah.
Oliver Laveri Farag for 5. For the panel, who thought Lucius was Maximus's son when you watch Gladiator 1? I never did, but it seems other people have different takes on this. I know Robert did. I didn't. And I was talking with Film Comics Explained, million-plus sub channel. I always thought that Lucian just reminded him of his dead son and what could have been had he chosen to stay with her. Not that he actually was cheated on his wife and had a child out of wedlock. Marcus's child, which sort of makes him a lesser person than the second one. Or you have to get real fun with the math. Either way, I don't like that decision.
Well, the
Robert,
Gladiator
I know
2
you
does
disagree.
say that.
I don't think you have
Lucius
to
was
cheat with
12.
the math.
Yeah.
I
Lucius
think
was-
he was with her before he got married. But, I mean, he was in Rome and they had a thing going and it couldn't work out because of
He
who,
bounced
what they were.
Well,
No, I
basically,
mean,
Lucius
his
was
duty.
12 when this happened in
Mm.
Gladiator, and his kid was clearly under 10. So you already have that discrepancy right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's simple. We don't know exactly the math of how many years after Gladiator 1.
I mean,
Gladiator 2
regardless,
is.
even if it was super fine and all that, I still think it cheapens it. Just be like, yep, he's your dad. Now fuck that other guy that you thought was your dad. Brace.
But it's kind of insinuated in the movie the way Maximus treats Lucius.
Again, you could infer that it was simply reminding him of his dead son, but I clearly wasn't the only one to make that.
And his dead best friend, there's
Ben's dead, sure. Albert, not a retro. Yeah, because he said he liked him. Albert, not a retro for 2. Oh. Extra Girl's mom, you look great.
Sister.
Young.
Sister.
Oh, yeah, sisters.
Hey, you know what? I do want to shout out to the girl at Target yesterday who ID'd me for NyQuil.
Aw.
I know. I was like, really? Do I not look old enough? And then she was like, what is your secret? I'm like, I'm Asian. I'm Asian.
NyQuil.
No, it's weird when I get carded because I'm like, who are we kidding here, people? I am fully gray. Like, are we really taking my card?
About black don't crack.
Yeah, I know. You're buffed out Urkel. Come on.
You know what? It doesn't crack, but it grays. So.
By the way, Verbal, you had a pretty interesting weekend and met some interesting folks.
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton, Duff McKagan, a bunch of other people too. But yeah, it was a fun night. Me and Gore, we went to
Landman.
The film premiere of Bubbles' new movie.
It was great. It's so good. We're going to talk about it when it comes out, but it was awesome. Let's get through these quick because I want.
By the way, funniest movie of the year. If you guys,
so
when it comes
good.
out, please go watch it.
That and Am I Racist? All right,
Nelson Cherada for 2. Yeah. There's a difference between freedom of speech and freedom of consequences. Yeah, you can't escape one. Albert, not a retro for 5. Hail, Steph, high priestess of the spicy cult, slayer of She-Hulks, destroyers of the coven on The View, and crusher of trendy bimbos. Who's next?
Wow.
Wow, that's a great plug.
Noah Knox Marshall for 10. Shameless plug. Imagination Bay will bring you something different next Halloween. We start shooting 13 weeks from today on our first feature, Vicarian, romantic supernatural thriller.
Well, good luck.
Congrats, Noah. When the movie's done, ready for release, send it to Film Threat.
Yes. Godspeed to you.
Graph Web for 2. In the name of all that is holy, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. All right, there you go, Graph Web. Thank you. Nick Kurtdale for $4.99. I love Script Doctor having fun with the Snyder fans over on X. Thank you, Script. It's been very entertaining. Instant Defense for 2. The Heretic.
I need to watch that.
That's a good movie.
Old Renaissance Boomer for 5. To protect the image of Mary Poppins, Walt's contract for Julie Andrews had a 20-year morality clause. Victor Victoria was right after it expired.
Oh, wow.
That sounds not believable.
20-year
morality clause?
I believe it.
I do too, especially because Disney, they re-release those movies every few years theatrically.
Yeah.
Is that even legal to make someone sign a 20-year morality clause?
Back
like
then
that?
it was.
You can make some. By the way, she did SOB and went topless in that.
Yes.
Wait, what movie is this?
What was this?
Blake Edwards SOB. It's a great movie about Hollywood.
Just expialidocious. Anyway, Impo for $11.99. Denzel Washington isn't the worst part in everything. Yeah, no, he was not the worst part. No. J Nemo for $9.99. The prevailing theory about the Wu is that Baum wrote it as a critique of the late 1800 populist admins, including silver into the money supply, hence the silver slippers and gold road.
Interesting.
Benjamin for 5. I like you, Kira. I love blacking out on NyQuil and running around town.
Jesus.
I hate to just tell you that my family is all sick, so I'm the only one that seems to have not, gotten it. So the NyQuil was for them. But I've never blacked out on NyQuil. But good to know that that's something that you can do.
You have that mom immunity.
I do. Like I've been exposed to all the germs.
All right, let's look at this Snow White trailer that just it hasn't officially dropped.
No, it hasn't officially dropped.
And this is still up. This is that HD leak.
Yeah,
it's
so
not
here's
official,
the thing.
but it's everywhere. Let's Alan, you'll mute me. Let's watch the trailer and we'll talk about it on the other end.
Are we allowed to watch this?
It's still up?
It's still up.
Wow.
Here we go, folks. Snow White opening in March of 2025. Here you go.
Boy.
A piece of paradise, but the queen. Change everything. Take him away, Your Majesty.
What did you say?
The people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Famed is thy beauty, Majesty. But the lovely maiden I now behold.
I look at you, and I just want to be the fairest of them all.
The queen is evil. You must flee into the woods.
My parents always said this forest was a magical place.
Turtle.
Hello? Is there anybody here?
It's a human.
What did you think I was? Nothing ghost.
You'll be safe from the queen here.
The queen stole everything from all of us. We're gonna need your help. It's time to restore our kingdom. Find Snow White. This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
You were saying. I'm sorry, my dear.
Did I frighten you?
Justice for Peanut.
Okay. I gotta say, wow. It looks the dwarves are nightmare fuel. Why did they not just hire dwarf actors or little
Peter Dinklage, or do it like
Peter
the Hobbit.
Dinklage, yeah.
Dinklage, that little bastard, man. He wants all the money for himself, dude.
Yeah.
It's like he wants the little people like market cornered for himself.
This is the penultimate. They've been doing the live action based on classic Disney animation. This is everything wrong with that concept.
And how many reshoots? The WDW Pro had that thing that this is over approaching, and it has to be over by now, $500 million.
Wow. Let me ask this question. I thought this was supposed to be a live action version. No.
Right. But even, I mean, it looks, I mean, what is this? Although I got to give props. Gail Gadot looks amazing.
I'm ready for the queen.
I mean, she is. I mean, she's kind of like. I feel like a lot of drag queens aspire to be like the evil queen, and they've had drag queens in Disneyland like dress like this. I mean, she looks like a pro dom or something. Like she's leaning into like dominatrix territory.
And it looks like she's really trying to act. It looks like she's really trying in this. So like, if anything, I'll give the trailer that. It looks like Gal Gadot isn't phoning it in.
Right.
And her old lady looks really good.
By the way, I saw this movie already when it was called Shrek.
Oh.
I do like the magic mirror being redolent of the original film.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is a train wreck. I think based on a couple things. One, the movie itself, and two, Rachel Zegler's statements on social media have been divisive.
I think if she never said anything, we'd be loving this right now, or we just wouldn't be making fun of it as hard.
I don't think we would have loved it either. But what's funny is that she said those things, and then they took a whole year to repair her image, and then to do a bunch of reshoots. But watching this trailer, this is exactly what she said. She's not going to be saved by any prince, right? She's going to be a leader like her father wants her to be. And looking at this, like, I don't remember in the original her, riding a horse like that. She went on the horse with the prince, and she was side saddling. She wasn't straddling the horse and riding it to whatever.
Well, the old one's creepy, remember? And the prince is the stalker. So this is what we're getting.
I don't think much in terms of the story, because it looks like she is going to save the kingdom. She's going to be the leader of a rebellion. That's what it looks like. So I think that this is going to upset, and it's already upset a lot of even like Disney adults, even Disney fans, because this is the very first motion picture for Disney that was incredibly successful, and people love it. And it was, you know, the film that started it all. And the fact that Disney has been using their live action movies to correct their wrongs from the previous films, they're making them worse. They're making these movies worse. And, you know, the song that she's singing, I close my eye to see the girl I'm meant to be. Like, that is her empowering song in the movie, just like Jasmine got hers in Aladdin. And it's going to be terrible. I would bet that because there was a conversation about, oh my gosh, what was it? About the prince kissing her while she was asleep, and all of those woke people got upset. There's going to be a conversation about consent and what it is the prince going to kiss her awake in the movie? Is she even the one that bites the apple and goes to sleep in the movie? How is she going to wake up? Because a lot of people were upset about, and there was a whole thing about consent surrounding the Snow White. So how is Disney going to fix that wrong?
Yeah. Well, they can make it the original where she bites the apple. She's stuck inside a glass tomb of sorts. The 7 dwarves are marching her through the wilderness until the prince comes upon her and says, "Hey, can I buy her?" And then they say yes. And when they try to hand her over, they drop it. It jostles the apple slice from her throat. She wakes up and then she says, "I'm starting a rebellion." There you go. Don't have to worry about the kissing part.
We'll live happily ever after.
Yeah, the kissing was Sleeping Beauty, not Snow White, at least the original Grimm story. But for Disney, they kind of did a hybrid there.
I mean, we keep joking about this, but I really want to know what is the actual bottom line price of this film? Like what's the budget? Like as of now,
we don't know, but we do know it is over 500. It's over half.
You're sure about that? It's over 500. Jesus,
it would be unless they've done a miracle. Like, it's on par with that Captain America movie on the amount of reshoots and time and the CGIing of the dwarves and the back and forth.
So this is it, and this is without marketing. This is just
I don't know if it's included. I think it's what he framed it as. It was the going back and forth and reshooting and adding more scenes with the younger actress, because Zegler's so unlikable that there is no way to save her. So you have to add more scenes with the younger version to make you like the character.
Well, marketing is not part of the total cost, is it?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So this could.
So it's 500.
No, I'm asking the question.
I don't think it is. No
marketing it.
Yeah. So it's why not just put this on Disney Plus? Like, why even throw more money at it? This is the point I'm trying to make. Why throw more money at it for marketing? Put it in theaters that no one's going to go watch. Why not just drop it on Disney Plus?
Well, because they made deals with the theaters to distribute it already. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Money's already been exchanged. They got
Snow White popcorn bucket.
Well, also, and like Wish, this is Walt Disney's first film, and so it honors. This is going to honor Walt.
Yeah, and we have to remember that, you know, there's lots of families in America that don't watch YouTube and don't watch film punditry. They're going to go see this film.
Yeah.
I just don't think a Snow White film is going to pull in that kind of money.
Well, the story was really thin to begin with. I mean, as much as Snow White is a beautiful piece of work, and it's the first Disney animated feature, it is a slight story. I mean, it truly is a simple fairy tale, and by them injecting all of this extra stuff into it, I would say that it was wrong-headed to even try and translate it into live action. I mean, no matter what they did.
Had a history of rewriting fairy tales anyway, right? I mean,
yeah.
Little Mermaid. She didn't, you know, the prince goes off with another woman and she turns into sea foam. And they've revamped it. So
the script doctor pointed that out, that all of their movies are essentially taken.
Yeah. Alice in Wonderland, Pinocchio, all of those are
Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella.
And they've spun it in a way that's going to, you know, make audiences. I mean, we have to think about the demographic. Obviously, first and foremost, Disney movies are, you know, catered to children, right? So, and now that we've all grown up, you know, and have become these, you know, critics and Disney adults per se, I think that they just really haven't. They're still looking at the audience and that younger demographic as opposed to placating all of us adults.
But, you know, I went and saw Cinderella, Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella. I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Cinderella was
not just because of Lily James.
That's actually my favorite live action that they've done. That was perfect.
Lily James.
They originally catered to families, and they've slowly shifted that, and they're no longer catering to families. They're catering to like people in their 30s who have no children. Like they're no longer catering to families, which is why these live action films they're catering to Disney adults. Yeah. Now, no longer catering to families. And when you do that, you change the audience, right? Then you have a lot of missteps. And I think that that's what these soulless live action films who are taking all of the lessons from the originals and what makes them timeless, changing them and making them like empowering and sort of like they're aging them because they're putting today's politics, today's things, ideologies into their now live action film. So they're aging. They're no longer ageless. It's like, okay, well, remember when we were going through that? Yeah, that's in The Little Mermaid.
But my thing is this. So at the end of the day, we're looking at, with marketing, about an $800 million film, right? About $700-800 million.
At best, if they stop right
they're
now,
going to make that money back.
No, I know.
Well, and you'd have to see. I mean, ultimately, as a publicly held company, they're going to have to tell us how much they spent, or at least come within some kind of ballpark angle. And there's no way you can justify that kind of. I mean, Batman v Superman was less than $500 million.
Yeah, when you say they on the count, how do they count for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
Disney needs a hit, right?
They have one. They have two. They have two this year.
They have Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2, right? But then
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine. But
and
then
Moana 2 is it's projected to open with over $200 million.
But look what's coming out.
That pivoted from an animated series where they were like, well, we already know that this property is one of the biggest properties that we have. Let's pivot and make it, into a full-fledged feature. And I mean, I think they're grasping at this point. I mean,
but that happened with Toy Story 2 as well. So there's precedent, when they've got things in the pipeline that they turn out, the idea turns out to be so good. And when they're doing animated films, they're workshopped for so long before they actually go before they final the animation. So they knew that Moana 2 was going to be good.
Now, I'm curious who you think the live action Pinocchio, where Tom Hanks plays an older man, Geppetto, who just wants a wooden boy.
Oh boy.
He's just wants a little wooden boy to be real. Curious who you think that's for. I think that might be the worst of the live action, and that didn't go to theaters. That was direct.
No. That was straight to Disney Plus. Yeah.
Yeah, they were smart enough to put it on Disney Plus. This Snow White thing, man.
Starring it. Yeah.
There's a whole thing where Pinocchio looks at a piece of poop on the ground. That's like a scene in the movie. A piece of poop, an actual piece of poop. I have another trailer to show that will shock you to your very core. But let's go with supers so we can keep the conversation going here. Badger, if you would.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. He really likes The Heretic because this is going to keep happening. Instant defense for $2. The Heretic. He says this a couple of times.
There you
go. Paul Luis Cabello for 10. Hey all, Rob and Script Doctor, you both are my heroes. Script Doctor, your analysis videos are incredibly enlightening. Any book recommendations on screenwriting and writing? Thanks, everyone.
Yes. So there's one called Writing for Emotional Impact by Carl Iglesias. This is pretty good. John Truby has two.
Truby's books are amazing.
The Anatomy of Story and the Anatomy of Genre. You can also check out Story by Robert McKee. That's a good one.
That's a great book. Great book, man.
So those are the four I'd say get you started.
In addition, I would say Stephen King's On Writing is worth reading, and so is William Goldman's Adventures in the Screen Trade. Even though it's a little dated because it came out in the 80s, so a lot of his references will be lost. But it's still a great book about Hollywood.
Yeah, when I first started screenwriting, the only book that was recommended to me was Story by Robert McKee. That's a great book.
Yeah, all these great books have boring titles.
yeah, they do.
Thomas Pickett for 5. Peter Dinklage pulled the step stool out for the rest of the little people.
Yes, he did. Screw that little bastard, man. Selfish asshole, dude.
And they made him a goat in a movie. So
John Winslow, who shows up in our chat, he's an actor and a little person. He Peter Dinklage is not popular amongst their community. I will tell you that much. He took a lot of work from people that were getting paying gigs that they don't get anymore. Darian Murphy for $4.99. The casting is 100% woke. I think Hollywood has convinced people to accept their racial agenda. It's really a shame.
Wait, what movie?
I don't know, and I think it might be talking about Wicked, but what?
Racial agenda. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. Asians like to work.
Yeah.
Benjamin for 5. Thought the original dwarves for this remake were like a group of Brooklyn hipsters or something. At first, we heard that was 2 different groups. Then we heard that, yeah, that is that, and they replaced them. Who knows?
There you go. All right, I have a secret trailer to show you guys, but it brings up a question about IP when it's legal to use things and the coming, I would say, sort of an IP apocalypse for Disney. So, and how these things are being remade and what restrictions are. So I'm going to show this trailer, and don't look at the title, please don't. But we're gonna watch this and react on the backside. So give me a second here. Here we go.
Yeah.
Showing all the good kills.
I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Popeye the
Okay.
The chin. I love the prosthetic chin.
All right. I didn't know it would get that gory, but like, what is it with every IP that becomes public domain, from Bambi to Winnie the Pooh to now Popeye is getting the horror treatment? What is this all about? Script,
Steamboat Willie,
Rob,
they're
maybe
all
you can
doing
give
it.
us insight from the legal standpoint, since you make films. Like, what is this? What's going to happen when everything lapses? We even had the Mickey Mouse, the Steamboat Willie horror film. So, thoughts on all of this? Is this what is the fate of every IP after 100 years?
Horror films are easy to make, man. And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And people go to watch them.
I mean,
and they're diametrically opposed to the audience that originally watched the IP. You know, it's supposed to be transgressive because it's not for kids anymore.
Like, I'm waiting for like the Peter Pan horror film.
He wrapped
the real Peter Pan, you mean?
Anymore.
Yeah, where he's a kid that never grows up. That's because he's like a vampire that steals the youth from children and throughout all of England or something. And Wendy's the only one that can fight back, but it's also his last victim.
You know, I think people are just having a lot of fun. You know, if they can take something that's so beloved after 100 years and, you know, poke fun at it and people go and watch it, like, what's the harm in that? You know,
I have zero problems with this. I think it's look, I love Popeye as much as anybody else, but look, it's a goofy story. It's a goofy character, and I don't mind them having a little fun with it.
Yeah, let them have fun.
Porn can't have all the fun.
I mean, you could do a Popeye movie like the second season of The Wire and deal with longshoremen and union problems and all kinds of things like that.
Yeah. Someone said, do kids know who Popeye is? Bro, that's not for kids. It's for people who grew up with it to have fun with it, play with the toys in naughty ways now.
The company who did that Winnie the Pooh horror film is doing like an Avengers Endgame where they've got, you know, Christopher Robin, all the Winnie the Pooh characters, Bambi, all in one movie. It's all these fairy tales and all this IP in one film. It will be insane. So I don't know. I just thought, is this an opportunity for indies? And they made that second Winnie the Pooh movie. They made bank. They've got a whole
so obviously there's an audience for it.
Yeah.
No, I don't watch horror, but apparently somebody is. And anytime I see those types of trailers, I think they're hilarious. I think it's funny. And I think, you know, how creative did somebody get to, you know, figure out a way to make it into a horror slasher film, right? Like, that's fun.
This is like Lloyd Kaufman kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you go into it's very tongue in cheek.
Or the Asylum, Sharknado movies, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. You just, you know, buy your popcorn and have a good time.
You don't see a lot of like those types of movies being made now, you know, like legit horror slasher movies. And this is just kind of fun. You know, taking all of these characters who are incredibly wholesome, you grew up with them as a kid, they would never think to do anything like this, and then you make them super evil and wanting to kill, and it's hilarious, but it's also it's filling kind of like a need right now because these types of movies I don't think really get made.
It's like
Maybe
Marvel get made all the
comical.
time. The level of advertising is diminished. That's all.
Those B and C movies that like I grew up going to Blockbuster Video and like, you know, going to the very back where when hopefully my parents were watching, and like all of those movies, like that's what that feels like to me, you know, like what is it, Killer Clowns in Space.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So like, yeah, she's right. Like
the back of the video store had a very different section where I was going.
There is a big hole. You know,
we're not talking about the red curtain badger.
Oh, okay, my bad.
We're not talking about the red curtain.
I'll get in there.
Now I've got one last trailer thing to show. I don't know if I can play the audio, but it brings up a question about AI creativity and like where the future may lie with stuff. So let me share this. And we'll talk about it on the back end. It's not what you wait. There is no. I don't see a banner for it. What I'm about to show.
By the way, Sons of Shadows in the chat. If the shadow could hit public domain, that would be great because I'd love to see that done. I mean, I like the Alec Baldwin movie, but
okay, now
it's a property.
I think Condé Nast has some
I'd be on board with
controlled
that.
rights of that right now. So.
Oh, do they?
Yep.
Wait, who owns it?
Condé Nast owns the shadow.
All right, hang on a sec, folks. Hang on a sec. What am I thinking?
That too.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Okay.
one heck of a weekend.
Hang on.
You know what
I'm
you're
really
thinking.
curious what Rob thinks of this. I don't know if he's
first.
seen it. I'm sure he hasn't. But check this out. Here we go.
Oh.
Wow. I'm already interested.
You probably need to mute it. Wow.
Is this real?
No.
Oh, it's AI.
Yeah, it's just AI.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But someday we ought to be able to, because it has already begun.
So we've shown these like AI generated trailers before on the show. I'm quite fond of them. I think if this is a taste of what can be done in the future, I am for one excited, but that may be a way to do Akira. I think the version where they were gonna do it in the US with who was it, Leo DiCaprio? That was a bad idea. Really bad.
Well, that's why it didn't happen.
And it shouldn't be touched either. Like we should have learned from Ghost in the Shell. Don't try.
Yeah, that was terrible. But any thoughts on this and what's possible?
It just made me want to go watch my 4K disc of Akira.
Yeah.
I think Akira's too beloved to touch, man. Like I really don't. I think it's a fool's errand. I think to try to adapt this into live action, if they tried, no matter who does it, it's going to fall short of what we know of the animated. So I think just don't touch it. Leave Akira as it is. Don't do a live action.
If you wanted to, though, go back to the actual 6-volume manga series, because there's the movie is a very truncated version of the manga. The manga is great. And if you wanted to do Akira, do a live action adaptation of the actual original manga. I mean, looking at this, it just was bad AI of the same shots from the animated film, which, by the way, was in '88 was incredibly groundbreaking. Even the way they animated light in Akira was groundbreaking.
I watched it for the first time ever this year, and I thought it held up like it was good. I didn't feel like I'm watching some old ancient movie.
And the soundtrack and all that. I mean, I understand why it was done, but the problem with all this AI stuff, when you're trying to make this looks like, people said The Lion King when John Favreau did, like, I love Jungle Book. I love the redone Jungle Book. But when they're doing these quote unquote live action, which are all just photorealistic animation, that's what. Why would you want to watch a photorealistically animated version of Akira when you could watch, if you had it in live action with real actors portraying the real characters, and you make it great, like Godzilla -1?
Yeah.
Why not do something like that, and you could make it work?
Well, I think AI is good when it comes to concept work. I think if I think if you're doing a concept, AI is perfect. I think that to actually try to use AI in actual filmmaking, I'm still not on board with it. I don't think we're there yet. We might be there 2 years from now, but proof of concept stuff, I think is fine.
Yeah. And those Technicolor, like the 1950s Technicolor versions of Star Wars or whatever, like you love, Chris, those are cool to look at. I think those are neat as fun. It's like you're watching a painter reinterpret these events or something, and it's kind of neat like that. But
they're fun, but let's just keep it fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason people love movies in the first place is because human beings are actually in them.
Yeah.
Animation is a different medium altogether, which is also appealing. But one of the great things about watching humans on a screen is that you're seeing human beings portrayed in a way you can never see them portrayed in your own life, because we've seen with fixed focal lengths, but seeing a human face on a screen that's IMAX size or something is inherently compelling to us. Whereas
people like live action, and they like animation. What they don't like is uncanny valley.
Yeah, exactly.
So
100%.
that's the problem you run into with AI, is the uncanny valley stuff. I think, again, we're not there yet. Give it a few more years, we probably will be.
I think if you do give it a few more years, it's only going to be more of an illusion that you were there yet and not actually really there.
You'll never replace humans.
Exactly. Like AI can do a lot, but it cannot imagine. And that's the problem.
Ben Affleck had the best description of it recently. I can't believe you've really, but basically it's like, yeah, AI could do it, but you're never going to have that flair between humans and that creativity, and to know when it's there, the unspoken, and when to stop, and the flavor, and all the humans ain't going anywhere, baby. It's just another tool.
What do you think about them bringing back deceased actors? Because it looked like, I don't know if they used AI, but it looked like they used it in the Cobra Kai to bring back Mr. Miyagi in the dream sequence, and he was speaking and his mouth was like just really weird in the way.
It's apparently from old footage, but they used AI to animate it like that. I think it depends on the family. Personally, it depends on the family.
And they are,
didn't they? They did that with Carrie Fisher, that last Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean, the estates of certain, like James Dean's likeness was licensed to be used in a film. I don't think the movie ever happened, but you will see new movies with John Wayne or James Dean. I'm not sure how much those actors are worth in terms of like a new, a modern audience or today's audience. Do enough people know James Dean? I do. Probably everyone here does, but is there value in putting James Dean in a movie?
No, there's absolutely not.
Like,
he was only in 3 features when he was alive.
Right.
Yes. And on top of that, you'll never get an authentic performance from an AI performer, because all they're doing is picking up what has already been done. But actors like to experiment. Like, take a look at someone like Meryl Streep. You can look at all of her films and basically identify she is not repeating a single type of choice or trick that she did before in any of her performances. And if you try to put that into AI, you're never going to get real Meryl Streep. You're just going to get a rehash of everything that she has done before.
That's what AI does. Just mixes everything around.
That's the beauty of creativity and what acting and what writing and directing is that there's a need for experimentation. It doesn't have to be gross, like grandiose. It can be minute, what have you. But it needs to be a little bit there to see, they're trying something different. They're pushing boundaries this way, where AI is really just the mechanism with which they're experimenting. And what the result is of course, just regurgitation.
Also, it's going to be I think this is a question that our civilization is going to have to answer. And what are the values? I mean, I can see a whole generation of people being born now, or Gen Z, call them what you want, that won't have a problem with any of this. Right. They won't have any issue at all watching digital recreations of people, and it's just going to get more and more sophisticated. And if that's true, it's a cultural value. Like for us, it's weird because we grew up loving movies, but for a younger generation that doesn't have the attachment to cinema the way we do, say, what do they care? You know, they'll play James Dean. They'll make an open world game of America in the 50s, like Grand Theft Auto 1950.
It'll be the
and
holodeck.
James Dean. Well,
It'll be the holodeck, and that's what Ben was saying, that this could replace DVD sales. That you would buy like a kit and like whatever. You
and you're going to be able to, in 5 or 10 years, you're going to be able to insert yourself in your favorite movie. Go, make me a Star Wars movie where I'm the main character and it's set in the underworld on Coruscant and blah blah blah. And you'll hit a button, and the next morning you'll have a feature length film starring you, set in the Star Wars universe, and then people are going to swap that, and it's going to totally overtake what we're watching now. And I don't think people have even conceived of what's going to be happening in the future.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Jr. Did some sort of article just recently. I know that I read it. He's like, he made sure that after his death that no one's allowed to use him in AI whatsoever. They basically said, if they do, Marvel, Disney, they'll be hearing from his estate. So, he's already planning on not being James Dean or John Wayne, but I'm wondering how many other, A-list actors have made sure that that's in there.
But that'll be official. What about unofficially? You'll have people, if they want to put James Cagney and Robert De Niro in a remake of Heat.
Ooh.
People are just going to do that.
But then they'll still be real humans, right? So we'll have it all, I think, really. And the meritocracy will reign supreme because there'll be certain actors that will be so charismatic you can't capture it on your stupid DLC for your holodeck program,
It just it's a matter of computing power,
Yeah.
All right, a couple more quick topics here. Good news, Star Wars fans. Lando is back. That's right.
Joy.
Lando is back as a DLC level in Star Wars Outlaws, a game that some people played.
Calm down, everybody. Calm down.
So here we go. Here we go. So,
well, at least it looked like Lando.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at that.
I thought it looked like Donald Glover.
Yeah. To make you rich.
Governor Thornton. There's an exclusive sabacc tournament being held on the casino cruiser Morenia.
I don't work for the Empire.
I could have the entire underworld believing otherwise. All you need to worry about is finding the Morenia.
Less than 3,000 players on Steam.
Exceptional value. You're going to win it for me.
How? The player list is confidential.
Nothing stays secret in a place like this.
So this is the sabacc legend we've been waiting for?
Oh yeah, we go way back.
Let the game commence!
I'm not the only one who saw that, right?
Wait. I wasn't cheating. This is a mistake.
One of all of the
Your hyperfuel intake's a mess.
Don't you have your own ship?
You should probably get the weapons ready.
Think you can handle it?
All right, strap in.
So they've made Lando Calrissian a companion to your character in a DLC?
Probably one cliche featured NPC for a mission, and then he sits at the table the rest of the time and says the same 3 lines over and over again while you play.
I think everyone liked Donald Glover as Lando. I mean, that awful Solo movie was not great, but Donald Glover was good as a young Lando. I think everyone agree with that?
He was great.
Yeah.
He was
I may not have loved the movie, but he was great.
He was really good. So I'm just saying this is what Star Wars is reduced to now. The most exciting announcement is a DLC level of a game that
barely sold 1 million copies.
Yeah, did anyone here play
well.
Star Wars Outlaws? I didn't.
No, I watched gameplay.
Yeah. I watched other people play that game.
It just launched on Steam and it still has less than 3,000 players even over the weekend.
That's because it's a very, very bad game. Like even if you took all the quote unquote woke stuff out of it, it's just a bad game, man. Yeah. It looks bad. Like there are scenes where you're playing and like you're shooting and the person you're aiming at it's actually the gun is shooting somewhere else. It's all over the place.
This is the game that was so buggy it made Assassin's Creed Shadows delay until February because they knew they couldn't release another super buggy game. So bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that he respected her as a woman and did not try to flirt with her or pick her up. Which means I hope Star Wars Outlaws shows us the HR meeting he went through before entering the game.
Yeah,
he's dating a droid, so.
All right, another topic here. This one may be controversial. How to Train Your Dragon. There is, yes, I love the word kerfuffle. Yeah. How to Train Your Dragon. There's a little kerfuffle regarding the casting of Astrid, who is quarter black. She is not Viking.
Garrett? Oh,
it is a fantasy story. So I don't know what that means. This is a video that went viral. I'm just going to play this video. It's short. It's like 1 minute. This is young woman's opinion. She is a fan, and she's very opinionated. This could be. Wait, just wait to watch the video first.
Sorry, no, we read a
Sorry, the comment,
the comment was amazing.
All right,
that section is amazing right now.
Let's 1 minute. We'll talk about it on the backside, so to speak.
The fuck?
Dragons are real.
And before you start with me, yeah, it has to do with her race. Because this is a story about Vikings. Look at the real Astrid. Blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, people love to throw out the term whitewashed a lot, but I would really love to discuss what kind of color washing is happening to every live action movie that comes out now. Didn't need it. Definitely didn't need it. Still don't want it. And here you guys are basically making the Lion King live action with How to Train Your Dragon. Just because you hired real actors does not mean that you're not going to have to CGI half that fucking movie. That's not even the point. I was willing to let go of the CGI thing when you weren't going to do another race swap. What is so hard about staying true to the original stories? Do we have to keep reinventing them? Because obviously no one likes them. Except for the loudmouth stars that you choose to do them, of course. Because here is the new Astrid saying, I could never do America Ferrera's interpretation of Astrid because I am not her. Well, then maybe you shouldn't be her. Honestly, I think we're at the point where we can start calling this cultural appropriation. You know, I was willing to let go of the mermaid thing and the blue fairy thing and all these things because those are just mythological, made-up things. But now you're just distorting history so that you can effectively pander. I hear a lot of people complain that we don't talk about Black history enough. Well, yeah, maybe it's because y'all are busy stealing everyone else's history.
Holy shit, Mally. Oh my god.
Okay, she went hard.
Has quite a mouth on her.
She went hard on that.
So angry.
Yeah.
I like Mally.
I like Mally.
Angry in front of his name. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on this? I am not How to Train Your
Actually, I do
Dragon.
have a lot to say about this. But
I'm not a fan of that series. My daughter loves it, and she was disappointed. She did not like that new trailer that dropped. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm tired of the argument that, you know, it's a fictional character. Who cares what race they are? I'm sick of that argument. I'm done with it. Look, even in the realm of fiction, the realm of fantasy, sci-fi, whatever you want to call it, there has to be a level of believability.
Verisimilitude.
Right? We're talking about Vikings. I don't care what y'all say. There were no black Vikings, and if there were, it was maybe one or two that got abducted by other Vikings, and they just became part of the clan or something like that. But let's just stop. There has never been a black woman in the history of the world named Astrid. Sorry. Like there just wasn't. There isn't. So let's stop the bullshit. And look, even in the realm of dragons, there needs to be a level of believability, right? Now, this girl is a quarter black. She's, you know, and I've seen pictures of her. She's definitely whiter passing than most black people. And I don't know, maybe if they dyed her hair blonde, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But the point is, like, you know, they're trying to pander, and that's the problem. They could have just cast a blonde actress to play.
The director said they tried. He said they got people that look just
bullshit.
like the character.
That's some bullshit.
There's not one talented blonde actress who could have played that part.
Yeah,
I'm for calling him a liar too, but he is saying that they tried to get someone that looked like the counterpart, and this is who best embodied the character.
No, they were told. No, they were told to cast someone of color. That's what really happened.
My co-host would
say that they tried.
Different co-host, sorry. I believe that too, but
that's fine. They could have still made her blonde. I've seen photos of this actress as a blonde, and she looks beautiful. Why didn't they make her blonde?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, Chris Evans has played two. That's right, two iconic Marvel characters. Both are blonde. He never went blonde. Johnny Storm and Steve Rogers, which always annoyed me about Chris Evans. Sorry to cut you off, Steph.
No, it's okay. We've always discussed like the erasure of, the redheads in Hollywood. They're coming after the blondes now because it's not just Astrid. There are 3 other characters who are blonde in Hiccup's friend group, Rough Nut, Fish Legs, and Tough Nut. None of them are blonde. And it's because they're afraid to say that they're afraid of like reactions, right? From the woke crowd saying, "Oh, this movie is too white. It's too white. It's going to be too white." But that's what the original freaking movie is. The cast,
who has blonde
the characters
hair
are white because they're Vikings. That's the movie that we grew up with. And with the director going online and saying like, "Oh, well, I'm making something fantasy. This isn't a history lesson." Okay, understandable. But when you make Rough Nut and Tough Nut, now you're making them redheads. Okay, fine. Why not blonde? And if he comes back and says like, "Oh, well, because Vikings are," I'm sorry, this isn't a history lesson. You're pulling from a visual medium that people grew up with. Why aren't you making it just like that? If you're not going to do that, if you're not going to be, if you're making a movie and it's not a history lesson, then what's the point? What's the point if you're going to be pulling from this visual medium that everybody grew up with, that everybody loves? It's such a huge franchise. I love it. I think all 3 movies are goated. I love the How to Train Your Dragon movies.
They're
if
great.
you're going to pull from a visual medium and it's not going to look like it, then what's the point? You're getting Gerard Butler. He played
reminds you it's fake.
He played stoic in the originals. What you're making all of the dragons look like the dragons from the original cartoon. So what's the point of you doing that if you're not going to also make the rest of the characters look like the original characters? I mean, shit, they made Rough Nut fat. I'm more pissed that they made Rough Nut fat. She's a big fat fatty. Why did you do that? She's a twin. She's a
Body
twin with her other
positivity.
brother. Why'd you make her a big fat fatty? And then the other character that they changed was Fish Legs. Fish Legs is a really tall, really big, blonde, white type of nerd. And in the movie, the actor who's playing him, I think it's like Polynesian. So like, why are you changing all of that? What's the point if you're going to not, if it's not okay, it's not a history lesson, that's fine. You're pulling it from a visual medium. So why are you doing that? Why are you changing it? But it's because they were told to. It's because of, oh, well, we want to diversify our cast. They won't say that, but that is the reason that they're doing it. They need to diversify their cast.
There's also the Academy Awards stipulations too, right? So they want to try see if they can contend for Oscars for next year.
And Universal Studios has their rides coming. They're going to feature it.
And I will say this: I think we're lucky we got a blonde Galinda. So
Isn't Galinda redhead
Galinda.
original in the at least the musical? Yeah.
Well, I think you nailed though. The problem that people have when it becomes obvious that that's what they're doing, that they're changing things for the sake of changing them to score points or create more diversity, or I'm sure in a business perspective, they're like, well, it'll play better globally if we have more diversity in all of these. I understand from what they're trying to do. The problem is when it becomes so egregious, it gets in the way of what they're trying to do, which is turn one thing from one medium is in terms of animation into live action. It becomes egregious, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. And you're asking yourself, what is, from a business perspective, why are you then putting yourself behind the 8 ball in doing something that's egregiously, obviously pandering? And then you have to overcome that with the audience that loves the initial property in the first place. When everyone's going, oh, okay, now you're going to do, body positivity. The human body is like a machine. And when it is acting or when it's being treated like a machine, like it's a well-oiled machine, it looks a certain way. And that's just how it works. And in the days of yore, were people eating a lot of sugary foods, and then when you make a character egregiously, say, overweight, you ask yourself, why is the point of that? Like, what are you saying to our youth? That it's okay to be overweight when you had these characters? Why are you going to insert that character? Why are you making that change? There's a reason why people watch superhero or read superhero movies or watch superhero movies and read comics. These are fantasy characters. They're aspirational in our imaginations. And to try and make them ordinary and to try to make them more everyday is ridiculous. It defeats the whole purpose of what fantasy is all about.
I want to
I
pivot.
gotta bounce, guys.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta
You
go.
got to bounce.
I gotta
Take care,
go.
Kira.
Bye,
Carolyn,
guys.
thank you
for
so much.
having me.
Hollywood First Look. Go to her channel.
out.
Yeah,
Thank
check
you.
out my
Take care,
Michelle
Kira.
Yeoh interview. Go ahead over there.
X-ray girl, but
It's
not.
always good to see you.
Bye,
sister.
bye, X-Ray girl sister. Bye.
Alternate Earth 2 X-ray girl.
Fine. I want to get and we'll go to Supers. Final thoughts on Glicked and that whole thing. What do you guys think on it? Like as we wrap up here today.
I don't think Gladiator's going to hold up its end.
I think Wicked will play through the holidays, and I mean Christmas.
Yeah.
This is huge. And not only that, there are 400 brand collaborations with Wicked. It's huge. I mean, everything from makeup to toys. There's, Starbucks cups. It's everywhere. There are popcorn buckets. Name a thing. Fashion. This is huge.
Porn sites.
This is a Star Wars like collab.
A lot of parodies.
The Alamo Draft House is doing Wicked, which is a drag show involving Wicked.
Oh my gosh.
Let's all go. Come on.
You can go see Dicked.
Now that's where that belongs, not doing story time at the local elementary school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to get your final thoughts, and then we'll go to our final supers. I know Alan has to go too as well. So.
Yeah, I just want to say really quickly. I think this is going to be a big week for Wicked. I think it's going to do bigger than it did this past weekend, even just because it's holidays. Everyone's off. I think everyone's just going to go take their kids and go watch it. The other thing I want to say too, though, is I really respect the thing I liked about Wicked is the same thing I liked about Barbie is I like the fact that they know who their audience is. And they went straight for that, right? Like they didn't try to deviate. They didn't try to make it for a broader audience. They made it for their audience, and because of that, that audience will bring in more people.
An audience of broads.
Yeah,
and I'll back that up and also say that it stayed true to the source material, which is
right. Right. And so all those fans who are fans of the music of the stage play, it's going to win them over. It's going to win over new people. I think it's a very smart movie, and I always like to give props to smart films.
Yeah. Anyone else with final thoughts before we go to supers and wrap up?
I agree. I think that this was marketed towards their target audience. I give them props for that. It's not like it got changed, to suit a male audience. All of the 400 brand partnerships, most of them are geared towards women. So they definitely knew who the audience was. I think that it's going to, it's already outperforming Gladiator II. I think it's going to do really well through the holidays. And I think it's going to have a sort of like, if it tapers off, it's going to have a comeback in December when they launch the musical sing-along versions of the film, where you can go watch the film and actually sing along to the songs. I think that's going to bring even more money in. So
you'd say it was changed for the better.
What?
That's okay, Alan.
Did you say it was changed for the better?
I never want to see the sing-along version. That would be torture. I mean, already people in the audience clapped after certain songs. I love the enthusiasm, but it begs the question to me, and you're right, Steph. They did such a good job. They knew the audience, and they made everything toward that audience. And it begs the question, if they made a Star Wars movie for men, targeting men.
That's what Ninja Master just said.
Made it masculine. It would be huge.
Oh, yeah.
What are they thinking? I feel like, and I'll say this, I don't even think that Hollywood knows how to make a movie for men anymore. There's so many boxes they feel the need to check, and those don't appeal to a mainly male audience. The movies has lost the male audience. The common wisdom, which is no longer true, or they're no longer following it, is men go to the movies, women watch TV. That's not true now, but they don't know how to make a purely male adventure action. That's why they can't make a Star Wars movie. And then Gladiator fell way short to me. I don't know what your thoughts are, but my God, if they made a Star Wars movie that leaned into men.
Henry Cavill as Kyle Katarn, Kyle is essentially the Chuck Norris of the Star Wars universe, as a former stormtrooper turned mercenary who just embraces the Force, would be $1 billion all the movies, but of course they'll never do it.
Well, he's a little too big for Kyle Katarn, but he'd be a great Dash Rendar.
I'll pretend, sure, I'll pretend that Kyle bulked up, but he gets bigger during the Yuzhang Vong War. But
I would say though that Gladiator II, I think, is going to do the kind of business that the last James Bond movies have done. They did okay in the United States, but they were huge overseas.
Where'd they top out?
And like Skyfall made $1 billion, but in terms of the difference between the American gross and the international gross, the international gross for Bond movies is like 70-30 international.
Yeah, and for Gladiator, it's 3-1.
Yeah, and I would say that Gladiator is going to do most of it. It's going to make most of its money. I could see Gladiator topping out between 125 and 150 in the United States, but I'll bet it does 500 million worldwide.
Yeah. Let's go to supers now as we wrap up. Alan, do you have to leave early?
We could do supers and then if we end
okay,
we'll be quick.
Yeah, we'll go real quick. Rapid fire, Badger. Here we go.
All right, let's go. Jimmy, I got to go 2 rapid fire. Jimmy eats movies for 2. Sir Kenneth Thorsinda, who now in the world could do?
Precisely.
Yeah. Sons and Shadows for 2. There are 2 Popeye horror movies coming in 2025.
Well, there you go. It's popular.
Better, people.
Shout out. Noah Knox Marshall for 5. The Vampire Peter Pan thing was the original concept and script for what became the Lost Boys. I'm sure Robert knows this. Yes,
that is true.
I did not know.
I didn't know that. Wow.
There's early promotional artwork for that you can find.
Crazy.
Fuzzy for 2. Expand the Akira world in live action series.
That would be great.
Yeah, or just
keep it where it is.
Yeah, just keep it where it is. You don't need it.
Null White for 2. Just make the Black Star Warrior.
Yeah, that was a great Star Wars parody film.
War Machine 300 gifting 5 Film Threat memberships. Shout out. And becoming a member himself. He said, fine, I'll do it myself. Edwin for 5. She is a nepotism hire, a Thwandy, or wherever you're supposed to say her actual name. I thought it was Tandy, but anyway, Thwandy Newton's, she's, that's her daughter, Nico Parker. Also played a race swap version of a character in The Last of Us adaptation. 2 Penny Puppet for 5. I saw Bonifer at my local theater. Every Saturday screening and most of the Sunday screenings were sold out.
Wow.
That's another Angel Studios production.
Yeah. Did I say that right?
They're a very
what that
interesting
is.
production company.
Yeah.
Bonifer?
Yeah.
Bonhoeffer.
It's about a pastor who's also a spy.
All right. That wraps it up for us today. I want to thank all of our guests, Angry Badger, Robert Meyer Burnett, Verbal Riot, Script Doctor, and especially Steph, my nerdy home. Sub to all of them, please. Steph, you're on fire. Robert, episode 1,000 coming up. 1,000. Right?
1,000 minutes long. Tune in. 16-hour plus show.
And Verbal, you're closing in on 5,000 subs. You're less than 100 away?
Something like that, yeah.
So sub to Verbal Riot.
200 from 8,000, and I'll put the link in the private chat of my stream coming up. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Badgers live in very shortly here. I want to thank our mod, Lord Thoth, Atomic Lori, Glenn Uccio. I want to thank my partner, Alan Ing. We'll be back Wednesday for Hollywood on the Rocks. We'll have our Thanksgiving hangover show on Friday morning. I can't believe we're doing it. And have a great holiday, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We are back next week. And I think we'll all have a Thanksgiving hangover next week. So anyone else have anything else to plug? Did I forget anything? Anyway,
go follow Steph on Twitter because she's a monster. Zegler fears her.
On fire. Steph is on fire.
Sorry.
Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Take care.